Hey there, I'm Peter Alsop. Today's song to chew is Let's Face It. It's a song from my In the Hospital album that addresses facial disfigurement and all the unsettling emotional trappings that we go through when we feel that we're different than others around us. So let's listen to our song and we'll chat afterwards. Here's Let's Face It.
Yeah. I love the way you laugh. I love the way you smile. I love the way you act. You got your own style. Let's face it. Let's face it. You're feeling blue 'cause you look different. It's no fun when you get funny looks. But life is not a beauty pageant, and pretty covers don't make good books. Let's face it. I love the way you laugh.
Let's face it.
I love the way you smile.
Let's face it.
I love the way you act.
Let's face it.
You got your own style. Let's face it. Let's face it. Now everybody gets embarrassed. Well, that's just the way we are. If we're alive, then we're not perfect. Everybody's got some scars, so come on, let's face it. Sometimes you're feeling great.
Let's face it.
Sometimes you wanna die.
Let's face it.
You're feeling sorry, mate.
Let's face it.
Yeah, that's where the problem lies.
Let's face it.
Do you love the way you laugh?
Let's face it.
Love yourself with all your heart.
Let's face it.
Do you love the way you act?
Let's face
Or
it.
don't you think it's time to start? Come on. You've got strength and courage. You got personality. You got great taste in friends, you know. Yeah, and you're humble just like me. Let's face it. Sometimes you're feeling great.
Let's face it.
Sometimes you're falling apart.
Let's face it.
Sometimes you hesitate
Let's face
to
it.
love yourself with all your heart.
Let's face it.
Don't worry about what you're not.
Let's face it.
Think about the things you got.
Let's face it.
He loves the way you laugh,
Let's face
and
it.
she loves the way you smile.
Let's face it.
We love the way you act.
Let's face it.
You got your own style.
Let's face
Well,
it.
everybody loves your style.
Let's face it.
Well, almost everybody.
Let's face
There's
it.
this one dude I know
Let's face it.
who's so into being cool and acting hot
Let's face
that
it.
he doesn't know what to make of you, yeah.
Let's face it.
I mean, you bust his marbles, yeah.
Let's face it.
He's like checking you out, checking you out.
Let's face it.
Look at that style, he's saying.
Let's face
See,
it.
he doesn't have his own style.
Let's face
He's
it.
afraid to be himself, thinks no one will like him, you know.
Let's face it.
Yeah, let's face it, it's just great being ourselves.
Let's face it.
Carl Seelove played bass on that, along with Roger LaRocque on percussion. I wrote this song for those of us who feel like we look different than everyone else. It's a struggle for us emotionally, whether we're an adult or a child. Just being ill or being in a hospital means that, by definition, we're different than people who are not ill or in a hospital. When we have to use crutches to walk or ride in a wheelchair, we're different. When we have skin discolorations or facial disfigurements like a cleft palate, or maybe we're missing a limb, or any number of other physical differences, other people stare at us and we can tell they feel uncomfortable around us. So we have to figure out how to behave and cope with our feelings of being left out and rejected. There's a huge range of feeling and nuance and behaviors that we have to learn to juggle, from fear and anger to curiosity and overindulgence. It's a lifelong process for all of us to figure out how we can maintain a healthy, positive self-image, no matter whether we are born with physical differences or if we acquire them later in life. We all feel particularly vulnerable to the reactions of others. These reactions strongly influence how we feel about ourselves, and when this happens, we need all the support we can get to protect us from acquiring a negative self-image. On the album, just before we play this song, my buddy Bill Harley tells the story we wrote about Peggy, an octopus who only has 4 legs, so she calls herself a quadrupus. She has to learn how to deal with being rejected and made fun of by her octopus friends who have 8 legs. There are so many kids in hospitals who have to go through what Peggy went through, and they feel just like she did when she tried to run away from her differentness. She also had a friend named Gus who only had 6 legs. He hides in a shell. It's perfectly natural to want to hide and protect ourselves when we feel like the world looks at us with disapproving eyes. But the key to coping with this is learning how to accept ourselves the way we are. Seeing others who look or act differently, from birth defects, cerebral palsy, burn accidents or injuries, facial disfigurement, amputations, chemotherapy, or other treatments, may confirm a child's preconceived fears of what might happen to them in the hospital, or arouse new ones. Being open and talking about this can ease our mind and help us grow in compassion and sensitivity to others. Like one of the kids says, "It's weird at first, but you get used to it." The inspiration for this song came from working with Betsy Wilson, the director of an organization dedicated to helping people who are facially disfigured called, you guessed it, Let's Face It. Her knowledge, big heart, and wisdom have helped thousands of individuals with facial differences and their families. Her wonderful work is now being carried on through the University of Michigan. Every child is special, and we can talk with our child about what makes them so special. What do they think is special about their best friend or their brother or sister? By supporting a positive self-image, we can help children and adults accept themselves and others. Understanding how many people react out of fear can also help a child with a physical difference be less offended by comments or expressions. It's typical to wonder, how did that happen? Or could it happen to me? Does it hurt? If someone's face looks different, can they still see and hear and talk? When the nature of the difference isn't understood, it's not uncommon to react by staring, avoiding, inappropriate joking, and unfortunately sometimes rejecting people. Kids are naturally inquisitive, and their questions and curiosity should be dealt with honestly. Seeing another child with crutches, a wheelchair, a walker, hearing aid can draw their attention. It may be helpful to give them the chance to touch, handle, and see how these things work. Remember twisting your ankle as a child and then trying to persuade your parents to let you use crutches to walk? Children learn by our examples of caring, compassion, acceptance, and the ability to look beyond what we first see. You would never know just by looking at dry, prickly pineapples that a wonderful sweet fruit is inside. And coconuts might be hard to open, but they're worth it. We will miss some people's very special gifts if we don't get past their outsides. And of course, these lessons apply to skin color and just about any other kind of difference that we notice about others around us. Black kids and brown and tan and white kids and pink-skinned kids with freckles and yellow kids all get treated. It wasn't always that way. People's attitudes and behaviors change slowly, but they do change. I'm Peter Alsop. I'll be back soon with another song to chew. Bye for now.